Welcome to the Endless Entrepreneurs YouTube channel. My name is Luke Henson. I am a part-time eBay seller. I am a part-time real estate investor, and I work in the corporate finance world as a consultant. If you are new to my channel, welcome for the first time. If you are coming back for a second time or many more, I appreciate the support as always. I've had a lot of viewers recently ask for an update on a bulk purchase I made in 2017. I actually made it back in May of 2017, and I purchased 4 pallets of 3,000 pair of pants. They were all LL Bean shelf pulls. Most of them new without tags. That's the 75%, and about 25% had tags. It was a solid mix between men's and women's. I would say 65-35 weighted towards women's. Mixes of jeans, dress pants, like hiking pants. I mean, you name it, it was in there. I would say the bulk of it was dress pants. Probably 20% of it was jeans of some kind, whether it be flannel line or just regular, different multicolored jeans. And the other ones were kind of just like some casual, like dungaree style, like, hiking type pants. So my buy cost for the whole thing was about I think it was $3,400. I have my spreadsheet. It's $3,400 with shipping, I think. So it was worked out to be like $1.15 a pair-ish, or something like that. I'm going to share my spreadsheet here in a few minutes. It's been so long, I honestly don't remember the exact numbers. I'm way into profit now with the order. It was my first ever bulk buy of this size. I've done a couple 100-piece lots here and there from different sellers and, things like that. But I had never, this was a network, like a one-time opportunity. I thought it was going to be more, but it ended up just being one from this guy. And ended up being a really cool experience. I learned a ton. I processed the entire order out of my 1-car garage, which I don't recommend. I had about, I don't know, maybe a little 6x6 area that I boxed myself into that the pallets had taken up, that I was unboxing and really just trying to go through it order at a time. In retrospect, I learned a ton. I would have had a much bigger space if I was going to order that size so that I could unbox absolutely every piece, sort it by color, size, style, and done multi-quantity listings the right way. Instead, I had a lot of redundancy in my process, a lot of inefficiency. I did get through it. It took me like a month and a half to get everything listed. So that is what it is. But I learned a ton, and now I still plan to make bulk buys in the future. It's not out of my business model at all. I'm just looking for the right opportunities, and something I don't want to say too much about it because I haven't solidified it yet, but I am working with a newer supplier right now where I may do an unboxing. They're going to send me like a sample box, and I might do an unboxing right here on the channel for you guys. And then if it goes well and I feel like it was a good, worthwhile, and the inventory was worthwhile, maybe a route for some people. I know a lot of people have asked about where they can find people to bulk buy that are reputable. This might be a good way for me to test. Kind of risk-free for me and risk-free for you, and show what it is. But I'm just kind of waiting to see, a lot of those things you get random messages and things and they don't pan out. So I don't want to get my hopes up, but there is a possibility that I may have something in the works for you guys. So that'd be cool. Anyways, let me jump in. Looks like my sound is good. Drummer just said he made 150 item bulk purchase of shoes. That's awesome. Nice. All right, let me share my screen real quick. Someone just asked about where Shannon is. Shannon just got done running. She's training for a marathon in San Diego. This, I guess it's later this spring, maybe May or June-ish time frame. So she's pretty excited about that. All right, here we go. So you guys should be able to see my screen now. What I did is I took this file exchange feature of eBay. It's a great feature. You can go into your sold listings. You can go back 90 days and just download all of your sales. It gives you a bunch of different fields. I'm not going to click on it because there's a lot of the personal information of the buyers. But what I did is I filtered for the new LL Bean because all of my listings have these in the keywords. So I got all of those out of there. Created an average sale price, and which you can see there. And just kind of did a running total of everything since I started selling the order. And what I've done is every 90 days, I've basically been stacking the data just because a lot of people wanted to see how it's been going, right? Like, was it a good buy? How slow they've been selling through, all things like that, right? Because when I first bought it, I thought it'd take me like 18 months or so to sell through. It's looking like it's going to take me a lot longer, which is fine. I mean, all the work's been done, and it's storage-wise, it's free for me in my house now, so it's not a big deal. But you can see just scrolling down, into the 120 unique SKUs that I've sold out of the lot. I've only sold, it's interesting, so I only sold 353 pair of the lot. Now, another caveat here for those of you who haven't been following this kind of journey is that I had about, I would say about 500 pair were waste. So about 2,500 of the pair were actually able to sell. The rest I actually donated. And they weren't like super damaged, just had little marks on them and stuff. And they're definitely wearable. I just didn't want to sell them with defects because I didn't want to flood my already flooded market with this stuff. So I ended up just donating it and taking the write-off instead, which ended up being a little more financially beneficial for me. So anyway, so 2,500 is a sample size. So I still have over 2,000 pair left to sell, which is pretty crazy when I say that out loud. And what I did over here is just kind of some quick calculations, and I'll scroll over actually, it'd be a little easier. I'll run through this first. So basically, I'm averaging $18.99 per pair. I wish my goal was to be above 20, and I just really haven't hit that at all. Like it's just I've been getting close, including shipping, but a lot of the women's pants are selling for a bit cheaper than I really wanted. A lot of like the low-hanging stuff. So I've been selling those at a lower price point, bringing it down. The men's ones and some of the higher-end women's ones are selling above 20. And so it's blending right down to like that $19 price point, which is fine. I mean, at $1.15 buy cost per unit and $19 a unit, I'm perfectly fine with that. And a lot of the women's stuff ships first class. And a lot of people are buying multiple items. So the shipping is actually weighted is about $3 a pair has been my shipping, because most people are buying they're buying more than one when they do that. So you can kind of see the quick breakdown here. This is cost of goods, shipping, my promoted listing fees. I haven't been using promoted listings on them at all, so I kind of backed off of that early on. I tried in the beginning to jumpstart it. And then eBay and PayPal fees. Now, the one thing I didn't include in here, and I always get hammered on this, which is just whatever, it's silly, but I didn't include the cost of my eBay store or the cost, like my fees, like not my fees, but like the listing cost per item, right? So if it's up for 12 months, it's $1.20. There's just not a good way to track that. Like to me, that's a cost of my overall business, not specific to this order. There's no value add for me to track that. So this is the rough profitability of it. I mean, it gives you an idea that it was a decent buy. I'm netted almost $4,300, as of today. So how many months is that? That's 6, 7. I think that's basically roughly 8 months. So 2/3 of the year, and I'm made about $4,300 profit so far, which is pretty cool. My buy cost, obviously, total with shipping was $3,400. So I'm only $800 up total, but literally every single thing from here on out is profit. So it's hard to say. Like, I mean, it says that estimated profit would be $27,000. I did a little schedule over here, right? I've had them active for like 259 days. I'm selling about a pair and a half per day. Average profit's about $12.16 a pair. So definitely a super long tail purchase. And it is what it is. Like, I would have done it differently now. Like, I think I way overpaid for the lot. And it was my first time, so I didn't know. If I had to do it again, I think I would have negotiated down to like 50 cents a pair, because I think that's about all they were worth. Yes, I use good till cancel. Somebody just asked. I think that I definitely overpaid. It's not unprofitable, but I definitely overpaid, if I was being honest about it. And over this next year, I would think, hopefully, if you can annualize this number, I'm going to sell probably should sell about 10 grand worth or so this next year at that 60. So I'll make net probably $6,500 this next year on the lot. So to me, it's a nice long tail play. It's 3 times my money. It's not the return time that I would want. And like I said, when I make purchases in the future, I'll really, really be keeping that in mind. But I really just want to share kind of my mistakes and the things I learned from it, because I think it's really helpful when you start to dive into it, so it's not overwhelming. Like, sell-through is a really important thing to consider. Amazon sellers do this really well, right? They don't want to get long-term storage fees. They want to make sure that they're getting the return on their money quickly so they can reinvest it. I'm way more of a long-tail clothing seller, so I just didn't factor that in as much. Whereas, my next purchase, I definitely would factor that in. I also didn't expend a ton of capital, right? Like $1.15 a pair is just not that expensive. So I didn't put as much thought into it as I probably should have. So it is what it is. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. I'm pretty transparent about it. Definitely things I would have done different, but it is what it is. And I felt bad because I probably had, I don't know, I probably get 1 request a week at least asking me to update on how it's going. So there it is. Hi Debbie, how you doing? Drummer just said, I've done all the work, Luke. It's just a waiting game. Yeah, and it's, the ROI will be there. It's just a matter of it's not as quick as I would have liked the ROI to be, but I can live with that. I'll take questions if you want. I know bulk buying is kind of it's a hotter topic because sourcing takes so much time, and buying in bulk is the one way to scale, right? I think there's definitely some limitations that people need to think about from a space constraint, a manpower constraint as you do it. I think it's definitely a good idea if you can find a reputable person to do it with. I don't have any experience with a lot of like the big hitter liquidation sites. I haven't bought anything from them. The supplier that I'm kind of working with right now is kind of a smaller shop. They do a lot higher end stuff. What I've seen with a lot of the liquidation sites is a lot of it ends up being, like the clothing at least, ends up being really low end stuff like Walmart, Kmart, some Kohl's stuff mixed in. And they kind of like mix and match to kind of bring up the value, but it's nothing that I would really want to spend the time processing. But this one I'm working with, and I hope it works out well. I've been talking with them for a little bit now. They do a lot of higher end stuff like North Face, Arctics, kind of the bigger brands, and they do it new with tags. It's pretty much all shelf pull return stuff. So if it's good, it's worth, I think to me, it'll be worth paying up for it just to have that high quality inventory that'll probably turn faster and it's new with tags. And I plan, like I said, if the relationship goes well, I'll document it on here and show you guys. If it sours, then I definitely will spare you guys from that. But we will see how it goes. All right, guys. I don't see any other questions in here. It was designed to be a quick video. I need to get my workout in tonight. I need to get some shipping done. I've gotten back to my morning routine. So now I'm listing in the morning, shipping at night. I'm going to try to do a little more YouTube and stuff at night. And then spend the rest of the time with Shannon, because just trying to get back to some routines. This last couple months have just been absurd. Like, just unconventional schedules, unconventional sleep schedules, all that crap. So kind of excited about it. Brian just said, I really dig your spreadsheet. Seems very thorough. Any advice on how to track inventory? I really appreciate that, Brian. Thank you. Brian, I would recommend for tracking inventory. So I have a tracker on the website that's in the link. It's completely free. It's, if you scroll down the description, it's endlessentrepreneurs.com, and you can go to the resource link. And I just use a daily tracker, and I track like what I list, what I sell, average sell price, all those things on a daily basis with some like other costs and stuff that go into it just for tax time. As far as tracking individual items, I used to average costs because all my prices were in a really tight band. So like my average cost of goods was pretty tight. I mean, it was between like $4 and $10. But now that I'm kind of diversifying more, I'm going to do actual cost of goods sold. So what I'm doing is I'm using the custom SKU line in your eBay listing, and you actually, like, I put my inventory number and then I put a dash and then I put the cost of the good. And what you can do is you can export your sales file from eBay. So similar to what I did for this LL Bean stuff, you can actually export it, tab delimited, and you can use special characters to separate the cost for that item. So basically I'll take that cost of goods and then I can just pivot it in Excel and figure out really fast my profitability for cost of goods. I've had a couple people ask about that. I'll probably do a tutorial on that here in the future. I'm just finishing flipping all my inventory over to having the custom SKUs filled out because I never have. Once I have that done, maybe for February, I'll show you guys a quick way to export and do that profitability. Instead of trying to track every single item in a spreadsheet and keep track of all that, this to me is streamlines that. It gives you the same answers you'd get, and you don't have all that extra administrative work. So just my personal opinion, I think that the technology is in a point where you should leverage it as much as you possibly can. I know Excel can be scary for some people who don't use it all the time, but I have no problem doing a tutorial and showing people kind of how to quickly navigate that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Thanks again for all of the comments and stuff I've been getting over the last couple of days on Instagram. I love seeing the comments. Love the support. And if you do have questions after this, feel free to drop them in the comments. You can hit me on Instagram. Direct message is probably the best way. I get back the quickest. You can email me as well. That's probably the slowest way. I'm not real great about that, but direct messages on Instagram definitely is the best way. Comments below. If you do have questions about supplies and what I use in my business, I always keep them in the description. They are supplies I actually use. They are affiliate links, so I do get a small little piece if you do buy through there, but it doesn't change the price or anything like that. And I try to evaluate those on like a monthly basis to make sure they're up to date with what I'm actually using. Yeah, that's it, guys. Have an awesome night. Really appreciate you stopping in. And I will be back later this week with our first episode of Reselling to Real Estate. So I'm pumped to kick off that series. See you guys.